This portion of the podcast, Tedertainment, brought to you by our sponsors. They include Crow Real Estate and Auction, Rivals Tap House and Grill, Nelson House Funeral Homes, Success Group Mortgage and Servicing, the ALS Association of Michigan, and Z92.5 The Castle. Well, what do you guys have on entertainment? I know I always have something to talk about.
Well, I've been keeping up on, I know we've talked a lot about Yellowstone and then 1883. It's to the point now where they're just dropping one episode a week. So we're keeping up with that. I don't know. Ted, have you kept up with 1883 or are you falling behind?
I'm one behind.
Yeah.
I haven't seen this Sundays yet.
Basically caught up, but
yeah.
I know we've talked about it, but it's still great. Jared, I don't know if you've gotten to it. You're busy, you're working, you're getting ready for vacation, but it's definitely worth it. And I don't know if we said it before, but I would definitely say you don't have to. I think, Ted, maybe you said this. You don't have to have watched Yellowstone to watch 1883. And almost, in fact, like you really don't have to. Like, if you know nothing about the story, 1883 is perfectly fine. So
standalone.
And you don't have 4 or 5 seasons to catch up on. It's only one season so far. So 1883, very good. Kept up on that. So I would highly recommend it, Jared, and Yellowstone still.
So I haven't yet. I'm gonna watch it. It's 100%. I'm not just saying that like, oh, I'm gonna watch it, but no, I'm gonna watch it. Just haven't started it yet. My brother actually watched it. He seems to love it because every time I call him, he basically tries to force me to. His name is Josh. He tries to force me to call him Josh Dutton, which I think is some character from the show or something. What is that guy's whole story? Is he like a badass or something?
There's no Josh, right? I mean, Dutton is the last name of the family, but there's
okay. Maybe that must
there's
be
a Josh.
There's no Josh Dutton, or he just wants to be a part of the family, I guess.
Yeah.
So I don't even know. I don't know who this guy is. Like I said, I guess it just must be the Dutton family. Must be like some pretty badass family or something. I don't know. But no, Yellowstone, 100% on the list. You guys kind of buried the lead. I thought the big kind of topic we were getting into on this Tedertainment Tonight was the new Pamela Anderson and Tommy. I don't even know his last name, to be honest, from the band Motley Crue. Let me just point this out from my point of view. I knew that they had, this big sex tape that leaked, way back when. Me doing my due diligence as a researcher, I think it's apparently been scrubbed from the internet as far as I could see. But it seems like it's just like a big time story back when you guys were growing up, Matt and Ted, when you were a little bit more of an adult. It seemed like a huge story when this thing dropped. And so much so that they're now like making a whole docuseries about it. Seems kind of wild when you think about what the whole idea of the show is. We're going to do a show about the leaking of a sex tape. But I will say, Pamela Anderson, obviously a lot of people love her. I'm a big fan of her as well. But I don't know anything about the show. Is it good? Is it worth watching? Even if I'm not really familiar with the whole story.
Well, I'll give my thoughts, Ted, before you jump in. So for my memory, I was pretty young. Like, this is all around when it like actually dropped. This is all around 95, 96, around that time. So, I was only 12, 13, 14 years old. But when I got to high school and then definitely in college, like how big this tape was, it was still as like big of a deal 5, 6, 7 years later as when it dropped. Because if you remember, like Pamela Anderson, she was like, Home Improvement, like the Tool Girl. And then she went to Baywatch, and Baywatch is where it really, Baywatch, this is again, just like such an interesting, like, and why this show is interesting, a generational thing. Like, Jared, clearly you like, I'm not saying like you don't get it, but you don't get it.
Pretty much. I don't get
how big of a deal this was. Baywatch was like the biggest deal. It was appointment television, and it was all because it was on late at night, or like you would watch it, and it was like kind of risque. And then Pamela Anderson was kind of like the biggest deal. And then she did Playboy and stuff like that. So it became like this big thing. And like back then, like nowadays with Instagram and TikTok and like celebrities, you basically know what's going on with all these celebrities. Back then, like if a sex tape or if like something leaked, it was the biggest deal in the world. And this show really highlights that, like how big of a deal it was that they got a hold of this tape. And then just the process of seeing like how they went about releasing it in 1995, like before the internet was really a thing, like it was, but it was on VHS tape. It wasn't just like, upload it to Pornhub and, start delivering it to people. It was like, you actually have to figure this out. So it is really interesting. Seth Rogen's involved. He's one of the characters. He was one of the producers. So, you've got him in it. And then it's, Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee. It's people playing them, but it's really interesting. There's some good comedy. obviously it's, you get a little the sex appeal and stuff like that, but it's definitely well worth the watch.
Good breakdown, Matt. I mean, that was pretty good, really. And just to add to it, I've seen the episode 1, just where it sets the stage, and Seth Rogen's awesome in the first episode as a contractor at Tommy Lee and Pam's house, and it goes from there. And I know the rest of the story. I gotta say though, I feel weird, talking about stuff like this. I mean, I'm a girl dad and a girl granddad, and it's sad that I kind of know this stuff. Like I've seen
you can act like you don't.
I've seen all the tapes, I've seen this one. I've seen Kim Kardashian, Paris Hilton. I mean, it kind of makes me feel a little bit, a little dirty,
I think it's something that like the people, and not everyone watches it, so I'm not saying that, but sometimes I think the people who say they don't watch that stuff, you're just lying to yourself. Like everyone's curious, especially back in the day, like with as big of a character, as big of a star as Pam Anderson was, and Tommy Lee, this was a big deal, it was a big deal. So that's why it's interesting. I will say this, you better be okay with some nudity, male and female, if you watch this show. So that's a little, I mean, what you're watching, what kind of show, but you better be okay with that.
Yeah.
It's funny though. There's funny. And then the story is just interesting. If you can get past the like sex part of it, the story is actually really interesting.
Isn't it something, and maybe this is a spoiler, so don't answer it if it is. Didn't it basically like some guy went in their house and stole, like, it wasn't like, stealing it off the internet like people do nowadays, which isn't even that like interesting. This guy broke into the house and essentially like just stole like a VCR tape, correct? Which I just imagine that guy stumbling on this tape, throwing it in the VCR, and like his eyes like just become like he saw an alien like when he was watching it in that house. Is that basically what happened, or is
I
was going to say, how would you answer that, Matt, without a spoiler?
Okay, without a spoiler, right, I mean, right?
Don't say it then.
Okay, all right.
I might have just spoiled it for people, but
especially because you don't know the story. If you don't know the story, that would spoil a lot of stuff for you. So,
but I think it has been documented. I think to wrap this part up, I mean. We all know about the Pam and Tommy tape, right? Everybody does. Everybody knows about that. But this whole backstory about how it got released and, how it happened and why, that's what I find the most interesting. It's well done. And the acting is what I've seen so far is really well done too. Absolutely.
Yeah, the two people who play Pam and Tommy, I think, do a really good job. And then Seth Rogen's character is just, he's really good. So
and Nick Offerman too.
Nick Offerman's in it. So, I would definitely recommend it. Maybe after your trip coming up, Jared, get on that.
Yep.
But so that's kind of what I'm keeping up with. We're going back and forth. 1883, Pam and Tommy. That's kind of what we're doing. Ted, I know you're probably what's on your queue on HBO Max.
I haven't been caught up to the latest Euphoria yet. I don't know what Jared thinks about season 2. We talked about it a little bit. Has it jumped the shark? I mean, was the most recent episode, if you've seen it or heard about it, has it picked up a little bit? Because I thought season 1 was pretty good. Season 2, I don't know. It's a lot of the same old stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Like in terms of what we've seen so far, season 2, it's entertaining. I'm not gonna lie that I'm not sitting there glued to the screen and looking forward to it every week. But I'm just curious to see where they're going with this. They could pull it all together by, season 2's finale. But in terms of like comparing the first 4 or 5 episodes of season 1 to the first 4 or 5 episodes of season 2, not even close. Season 1 beats it way out of the water. It almost seems like it's not realistic in season 2. Like what's going on, the love interests, like these people would not be drawn to each other, and this wouldn't be happening the way it happens. That's the way I view it now. But like I said, still a lot of time for them to pull it together. I'm still very entertained. And I still have not seen the most recent episode. I'm actually planning on watching it tonight. So we'll see. More updated review to come next week. But it's a good show. Maybe it loses its appeal with all the nudity and everything like that to some people, but I'm in on it. I like it. And it's sort of run into the problem where you start comparing it to, the great shows that have come on HBO in the past, whether it's Game of Thrones or this or that, where they get the super, big draw in the audience, and then as soon as they get the audience, it sort of like kind of craps the bed. We'll see. I think that's kind of where we're going, where it's sort of like Game of Thrones, the final season of that, where as soon as everyone was watching it and everyone was talking about it, it sort of started to suck. As soon as, your older uncle jumps on the show, that's when maybe it's not as cool as it once was, but we'll see. I don't know. Like I said, still a lot of time to figure its footing out in this season. I'm interested to see where it's going, but I'd be lying if I wasn't nervous about where it's headed.
It must be doing okay, though, because I think I just saw that it's already signed up for
season 3.
So it's doing okay. Couple other quick ones for you guys. I saw on Amazon Prime a documentary about Val Kilmer. Now, you remember him, I'm sure, Matt.
Yeah.
Of course, he was in Top Gun, and he was Jim Morrison in The Doors.
Yeah.
He was a great actor, but this documentary,
and the best one.
Which one is that?
He was in Tombstone.
Ah, right, Doc Holliday.
That's one of my favorite movies. I mean,
so
I'm your Huckleberry.
Fantastic actor.
What?
So you
I don't know any of those movies.
Oh, you're missing some good ones, Jared. We'll have to hook you up.
All right.
Yeah, but the documentary was very how do I want to put it? It was sad because
he had a rough life, right?
He had some rough health issues with throat cancer and what's going on with him right now. What they actually did is the documentary was really well done. His son narrated his parts. His voice was just like Val Kilmer. It was very well done. So if you get a chance and you're interested at all in Val Kilmer's life, I thought it was really, really good. But the one final show I want to tell you about, I don't remember if I mentioned it before, but Ricky Gervais on Netflix, he has a show called Afterlife. It's tremendous. 3 thumbs up all the way. It's about a guy, Ricky Gervais's age, who loses his wife to cancer and how he deals with it. And it's sad. It's got comedy. It has everything. It's basically a half-hour series. And I've seen the first 2 seasons. We're just starting to watch season 3. I couldn't recommend it any higher. It's really, really good.
It's on HBO?
It's on Netflix.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I would be interested in that. I know Ricky Gervais, he's insanely talented writer and everything, but the Val Kilmer thing, I mean, clearly another generation. Jared completely checked out when we talk about Val Kilmer.
I did.
All right.
He was one of those actors, especially with Top Gun, Tombstone, The Doors. He had some huge, and then he went through health issues and stuff, but he was a megastar. He was a megastar there for a while.
Yeah, he was like right there with, I don't know who nowadays would you compare him to. I mean,
Channing Tatum or something like that.
Something like that, yeah, because he's from the same generation as DiCaprio, right? Basically, and Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
So it's worth the watch if you like documentaries.
Yeah.
You love documentaries. I can appreciate it. There is something to be said about a really good documentary. The fact that it's it's true and all that sort of stuff. Where if you can pull it together, I mean, we saw it with like Last Dance, where it captivated me. I was like a little kid watching those things. I can't imagine what it felt like for like Matt. Basically reliving what his childhood was like.
Yeah.
So there's something to be said about a great documentary that really can draw you in.
It's funny,
and it's kind of with this Pam and Tommy. Not trying to get back to it, but you have the story of what happened, but it's like the background, how everything unfolded. It is like super interesting to see. Like it wasn't just like stealing it from the internet like people do now, hacking into someone's cloud and stealing something like that. The story of what happened is really interesting.
Here's a quick question before we wrap up, fellas. I mean,
Jared went away. Spotlight.
No,
off.
I don't know. My light just went off. I'm back.
Don't kill your car battery. We don't need another car story here.
Whoa, having some technical problems. Yeah, the car. I think the battery just went out. Luckily, it started back up. But
well, I'll make a quick thought. Do you guys read things on Kindle? Do you read everything on social media? Do either one of you read books anymore? Because I was going to say I like documentaries. And when I read something, I like to read biographies too, autobiographies or biographies. That's kind of my go-to read.
Yeah, I'm the same way. So I'm either reading, something that's like self-help, autobiography, biography. I don't really read fiction, and maybe that's a problem because I do love fictional books. That's all I used to read when I was a little kid, but maybe I just don't have the imagination I used to have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I don't read much fiction, but if there's a good biography, like Dave Grohl, Foo Fighters lead singer, he just wrote a book about kind of his stories of his career, and it was amazing. The Foo Fighters are one of my favorite bands, and I really like Dave Grohl. And so when he released that book, it was like, boom, I'm reading that right away. So Stuff like that's really interesting.
Yeah, well, you guys know how much I like the Beatles and how I was really looking forward to Get Back, that documentary. And then I just happened to sign up for Hulu, and I see they had like a 3-parter with Rick Rubin and Paul McCartney. That's just unbelievable how in depth he goes on the whole Beatles trip. So that, I won't spend any more time recommending it, but it was very well done. And I can't wait to watch the final 2 or 3 episodes. So
I'm gonna blow your mind with this. Shangri-La, the famous like recording studio of Rick Rubin. Rick Rubin's a legend. That is a guy I do know about.
Okay.
So maybe that one might actually draw me in because he is an all-time character.
And he does the interview of Paul McCartney, so I think you might enjoy it. Yes, you learn all about the Beatles.
I tell you what, I'm marking it down right now.
Perfect. One final thing, boys. I've started. I downloaded the app TikTok. I see what you mean.
Oh God,
it's hard to get off it, and I don't know what to do, guys. You tell me, because are you supposed to hit the like button or the love button, and then it will start doing the algorithms for you? Right. I'm scared to do it because the thing. I hope it doesn't disappear, but there's all these women on there and doing
the more stuff you like, the more women you're going to see. Or
I haven't liked any of it yet, but it comes up automatic.
And if you watch the videos too, like if you spend time watching videos, that goes into your algorithm. So that's why people say, like, I don't know about all the teenagers dancing or all the women that are on there or whatever. Well, it just hasn't fallen into your algorithm. Or if you do, clearly you like those videos or you watch those videos. Because
I'm in trouble.
Yeah, like I've been, and I'm not gonna lie, I actually did get in trouble for this. I don't ever get on TikTok other than to, like, honestly, like here or there. If somebody sends me a TikTok, then maybe I'll find myself like scrolling on it for a few minutes. But other than that, I don't ever like just go into the app. But my girlfriend was like, "Hey, like, let's watch your TikTok, see what's on it." Just like she was like, obviously thinking it was just like sports or something. And I kid you not, probably the first like 10 videos were all girls, and that didn't end well.
I mean, whatever. It's not like you're gonna cheat on her with it. You're just watching some videos or whatever. But there is there is that. But there's a ton of super funny. Like people are hilarious on there, but also like interesting, like cooking. If you're into cooking, there's sports stuff. So there is some like super interesting.
Cooking and handyman stuff's been kind of interesting, seeing how that works. Yeah. So
you'll find yourself sitting there, and next thing you know, it's a half hour later, and you're still watching, and you're like, I gotta get off this thing.
Oh, it's actually
whatever you're looking for on TikTok, you can curate it. That's what always cracks me up when people say they hate it. It doesn't matter, man. Whatever you're into, whatever you like, there is a TikTok like curation automation for you. So you just got to find it.
Just what I needed, another time suck, but I am semi-retired, so what the heck?
Yep.
We're keeping you young. We're keeping you young, Ted.
Then for another year or so.
Have you stumbled on like the super 70s sports TikTok? That I already know that's right up your alley. Might as well.
No, I haven't. Can I search for it?
Yeah.
Okay. Because that's one of my favorite sites on Twitter.
There you go. That's a nice little one. Throw in the TikTok reel.
All right. Maybe I'll do that tonight. Maybe I should wrap this up now so I can do that. Does that sound all right?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Another fun one. Jared, we can't wait to hear about your trip. That's for sure. Definitely, we'll talk off air on when we're going to record if you survive.
I'll take some notes from the Waste Management Open, what I see, what transpires for the podcast for next week.
Sounds good. Definitely tell your brother Josh we're passing on our best to him. Okay, I'm sure it's going to be a blast, and I know he's looking forward to having you guys out there. All right, everybody. Follow us at 3 Point Pod. Let our partners know you listen in and enjoy the show. They include Crow Real Estate and Auction, Rivals Tap House and Grill, Nelson House Funeral Homes, Success Group Mortgage and Servicing, the ALS Association of Michigan, and Z92.5 The Castle. Tune in live on Z92.5 this Friday night, February 11th, as Lake Fenton travels to the warehouse to take on the Owasso Trojans. You can hear all that action coming up. Also, until next time, for Jared Fattel and Matt Burns, I'm Ted Fattel saying so long, everybody, and bye just for now.